This is a video response to the video called Cookoo Cultists Talk About Equal Money and Other Things. And I listened to this video, and the person who made it, in essence, they focus on points of technicality in terms of their definition of the difference between money and, say, tokens. And they focus on other points such as what the system would do to someone who tried to circumvent the system. Someone who wanted to, instead of, in his example, buying goods from a centralized system, instead they wanted to trade directly with another person. And their question is, what would, I'm assuming he's addressing Destiny or someone in Destiny, but he's asking, what would we do? And really, this person is missing the point entirely. And they claim that they have listened to, or excuse me, they've read the website. They don't say which one, but they claim they've read the website. I'm assuming equalmoney.org. And instead of addressing any specific points within the website, they just claim that it's ambiguous and the grammar is poorly written, and they have a bunch of other claims, or a few other claims. But, of course, they're not specifically addressing any points except those ones I mentioned in the beginning, which are the difference between a token and money, which is a rather irrelevant distinction, because what we're talking about with Equal Money and Destiny and the Destiny I process and everything that Destiny and Destiny members stand for is about a principle. We're talking about the principle of what is best for all. So, is it to say that we're not interested in the technicalities? No, we are interested in the technicalities. But at this point, if you were to look practically at the world itself, if you were able to see clearly, outside of your own reality and your own ideas about yourself and your life, but you actually looked at the world as a whole and the systems that exist, you'll see that we're quite far off from any kind of change, radical change in the system in any capacity, whether it's equal money or not. So from that perspective, we're not interested in engaging in technicalities at the moment because they're irrelevant. The point is, we're so far off as a collective, as humanity, in terms of our innermost nature, that it's almost irrelevant to talk about any of these technicalities. But that's not a cop-out. It's just a realization of where the priorities are at the moment. And if you are actually interested in what's best for all, truly, and your nature is truly one of wanting to give to everyone everything in reality as you would like to receive, then you'll realize that the technicalities aren't that relevant at the moment. It's not to say they won't be worked out, but what I see within the person who made this video, within their comments and their questions, is a great deal of fear, disguised as intellectual argument. And I've seen this in quite a few people's statements and videos that are disagreeing with equal money, which is this point of, what are you going to do if I don't want to participate? Or what are you going to do if I want to do it a different way? I mean, simplistically, the system right now, if you don't participate, look at what happens to you. If you decide right now you don't want to have money, right? You don't want to participate in the system, what happens? You get cast out. That's what bums are. That's what homeless people are. You know, look at all the people who are swept under the rug by our society and by our collective society as humanity, by our collective system, simply because they're not born into a position where they're able to participate effectively. I mean, that's your answer right there. What happens if you don't participate by playing by the rules now? why wouldn't you want to participate fully? What is the advantage you're trying to gain by going outside of the rules of the system, in an equal money system or in the current system? What are you trying to get out of that? What kind of answer are you looking for when you ask, what would you do if I wanted to, instead of going to a centralized place to get my goods, if I wanted to trade with another person? How is that relevant? Are you focusing on those points really, or is your heart focusing on what is best for all? Is that where you're coming from? Is that where your heart's at? That's what I'm asking you. I mean, and I'm not just asking the person who made this video, but anyone who's listening to this. Where is your heart at? Do you actually care enough to give to everyone equally as you'd like to receive? Or is reality just a game? Is life just a game where you try to get the most advantage over everyone else so that you can be, in your mind at least, the king of your life? Is that what life's about? Or is that just a system that you've been taught and conditioned to accept since birth? Is it not just a product of the current system? You're going to have to realize, whoever's listening to this, that if you really want to investigate equal money, you're going to have to do a great deal of letting go of everything you think you understand about everything, about reality, about economics. You can't try to understand an equal money system within the context of the current system. For example, the user brings an example of Germany in the 1920s where they tried to print money and ended up, because the money itself wasn't attached to any specific goods, the money itself ended up being worthless, because that didn't mean they were producing any more goods than before. But you have to look at equal money as a global solution, not as Germany within the context of a world global capitalistic economy, because obviously it wouldn't work from that perspective. Obviously. Germany wasn't playing by the rules of the entire global system, so therefore their solution didn't quite work, did it? But that's not what we're talking about. We're talking about the collective nature of humanity changing to one where we, instead of all searching for survival only constantly and putting profit above equality, above care, above support, equal support, to changing our nature to one where we actually care and we actually give to each and every one equally, and we give the necessary support to each and every one equally. Animals, plants, humans, rocks, trees, every particle of existence. Imagine when you actually focus on everything, how much you're already, by not doing that, missing. How much you don't know about your own human body. There's so much within the physical that we don't know, that we're not able to focus on, because we're constantly focused on survival of basically our ideas and beliefs about ourselves. So my suggestion is, if you actually care about everything in this reality and universe, and yourself included, then investigate equal money and look a little bit further. And don't stop and give excuses because you believe that there's poor grammar, because you didn't research and understand why the words and grammar is placed the way it is. And don't stop because you feel like it's too vague, because you didn't investigate all of the thousands of articles and videos that are there, because you haven't, because it takes years to do. I know, because I've been doing it for years. Take the time if you actually care. If you don't, just go back to playing video games, because that's all you're participating in right now is a game. A game where you challenge destiny and try to show your intellectual might. And you know what? No one really cares, because destiny will just give our response, and then we'll move on. Because it's not an argument. What's best for all is not up for argument. It's obvious. It's common sense. You can see it for yourself if you actually cared. But if you don't, then obviously you won't.